Graham, good to speak to you. I'll just start with a bit of a roll call, if you will. Clark and Tyreek, just first of all, what's the sort of picture on them?
We're just assessing them at the minute. Tyreek came out on the grass today, so we'll see how he reacted to that, saying Clark didn't, but obviously we've got tomorrow to have a look at him as well, so we'll see how those two go.
Are either in the picture, do you think, for Doncaster?
It would depend on tomorrow, really. It would be down to them how they report tomorrow. We'll give them the best possible chance to be available for selection, but yeah, we'll know more tomorrow. I'll try to keep it, especially when there's a Tuesday game, try to keep it as late as possible to give everyone the opportunity, but so we'll just see how they are tomorrow.
J Ben?
Yeah, he's the same. So he's the same. So he came out on the grass today with Tyreek, and so we'll see how he responded to today's exertions, and we'll go from there.
Alex Patson and Aidan Baldwin, are they closer?
They're closer, yeah, but they're still they won't be. They've not trained with us yet, so yeah, just ongoing. They're coming along, but it's a little bit slow in their recovery. But yeah, they won't be in contention for the weekend.
Those that are a bit longer term as well, they're all similarly just on track.
Yeah, they're sporadic sort of return dates. So there's a few too many to go into all of them, I think. But yeah, none of them have had any major setbacks or anything like that. So fingers crossed that stays the same.
I know you've spoken to us after Gillingham and Cheltenham. We've not had a proper sit-down presser since before then. A few days on now, how do you assess those two games back-to-back?
Look, delighted to obviously win the home game and take the 3 points. I think really good performance against a good team, so we were delighted with that. It was a real strong performance from the players, and we were delighted to win again at home. But Tuesday, similar to when I watched it back on the way back, I was just a little bit frustrated with our. We lost control of the game at 1-0, and certainly when they equalised, I thought they had the upper hand for maybe 20 minutes or so, and we couldn't sort of wrestle that back. But from half-time onwards, we were really dominant, and we just needed to add a bit of quality in our final third, because we had certainly enough possession there, and basically the majority of the game was in their half, around their final third, but apart from Bobby's 2 or 3 shots, one hit the crossbar. I think the keeper's made a couple of good saves from him as well. We didn't really test the goalkeeper enough after that, really. So that was the only frustration, really. We always know that you're never going to dominate a game for 90 minutes anyway, but we talked about not conceding in those spells when the opposition's on top. I don't think it's a goal that we can look back on, and apart from squeezing the box a bit more, if a lad's having a 30-yard shot, percentages tell you they don't often go in. Certainly if they have to go through a lot of bodies. So, but I was delighted, with the second half performance. I thought we were really strong, really used the ball well, and we just needed to get that goal. And if we'd have won 2-1, we'd have said it was a brilliant return from 2 games. But after the three wins on the bounce, a draw away from home, it isn't a disaster. It's another point on our tally, and keeps on and beating run go.
From our point of view, certainly, it seemed like 2 pretty high intensity games. There were periods of where it was end to end. It seemed frantic. When you consider that and chucking the illness that you obviously had last week, which will have depleted energy somewhat, how have you gone about sort of managing the workload this week on the back of a pretty tough period in that sense? Yeah,
it's been reasonably minimal, because obviously it's the journey as well. The long journey down there on the Monday, and then it's hard because Tuesday games, if you're in the hotel already, it's a bit of a long day. But we do a little bit of planning on the day of the game. But then we haven't. Majority of lads probably didn't get to bed till 3-4 o'clock Tuesday night. Sorry. So yeah, you have to take it into account. But that's why we work hard in the off season. We work hard in pre-season, because we know how difficult it is to sort of get any fitter once the season starts, because the games come thick and fast. So that's why the pre-season is so important to us. So you you build up your reserves of energy, and then when it comes to it, you've got it in the bank, so to speak, to expend when the games come around. So the players are in good shape. I think when you're winning games, mentally you're always in a positive frame of mind as well. So we'll have enough in the bank to go again on Saturday. So we'll look at the boys we did today, we'll look at it again tomorrow, and then we'll pick the team that we feel has the best opportunity on Saturday.
I was going to mention that sort of work you did in pre-seasons. It's periods like this, and I imagine you have a few more this season, even this early on right now, where that hard work you did and some of those maybe long runs and long days and the fitness stuff really does come to fruition. It
does, yeah. Like I said, I think we were asked about it right at the start of the season when we won our first game, and it had nothing to do with winning the first game. It was about the long term. The whole of pre-season is just around winning one game of football. It's about getting lads in a real good physical state and mental state, because I think you can build up the mentality and the mindset in that period as well, to then go and compete for 10 months. And it's a difficult job, and it's on its own. Over 10 months, it's a grind, it's a marathon, English football. So you have to know where to be able to take your mind and your body, and your body's always capable of doing more than what you think it can. So we challenge the players in pre-season for that specific reason. When they don't think they can go again, all of a sudden they can, and they can do it again the next day and the next day. It's for these moments when you might be doubting what you can do going into the third game in a week. But if you remember what you were capable of in pre-season, then you know that you can go again, and that's what we have to do, because it'll be a difficult game, and we'll have to be at it.
You mentioned the mindset there. There's been periods this season where you seem to have faced a bit of adversity. Gillingham, for example, you go down in the first half, come back and win it, equalise with Chelsea. I think even thinking back to Morecambe, where you're behind and still managed to dig a point out there. Have you seen a mindset switch in the squad during your time here, Graham? I know we spoke to Neil Byrne a few days ago, and he said that certainly Gillingham, when you went behind, there wasn't any sort of panic, any anxiousness. Everyone was ready to go again, and so it proved.
Yeah, I think we've just took away this expectation of everything being perfect all the time, and just understand that difficult periods are going to come, bad things are going to happen, you're going to make mistakes. It's just about how you respond to those things and how you respond to any setback that comes along your way. And really, your reaction defines you as a person, as a character. So if you've got anything about you, if you really believe that you've got good character, that you have got a strong personality, then that's where it's shown, and that's where you prove it. It's not when you're winning every week and everything's going great, because everyone's a strong person and a good person. It's when the challenges come along, that's where you strip naked and you are what you are. So if you don't build up that mindset through tough times, you're going to be found wanting. And every team, every player will go through challenges throughout the course of a season, and you have to be strong enough to overcome it. But I think we've built up a team spirit where we can lean on each other, where we can support each other, encourage each other, trust each other. So if we're digging each other out, we know it's from a place of trust. That it's not a deflection on somebody else. It's we understand we're just trying to get the best out of each other. And the Gillingham one for me was a real statement of our mentality. Because Gillingham were a good team. We've gone goal behind, but I didn't see any negative reaction. Didn't see any negative body language. And I didn't think it came from the crowd either. I think the crowd responded to that as well. So, and there'll be more. It's not just one challenge and we overcome it and everything goes smoothly. There'll be more coming along. There could be another challenge on Saturday, without doubt. And we have to show that toughness, that mental toughness, to understand that the game is 95 minutes long and the season is 50 games long. And that's where we'll be judged on how good we are as a team. So keep our composure, keep our belief, and hopefully we'll show the quality that we need.
Look ahead to this Saturday then, big game in the context of the table. I think it's looking at a bumper crowd and the flags back and stuff. How much are you looking forward to that as an occasion?
It's the game is the occasion for me. Look, it's brilliant. I love playing at Valley Parade. I think the the players enjoy it. You know, we're on course, I think, for the biggest crowd of the season so far. So that's great. I think the players have slowly but surely learned how to manage everything that goes around a game at Valley Parade with different opponents, different tactics, different game management, all those sort of things, and try to really keep our focus on what we need to do. But you know, if you're a professional footballer, you've got to enjoy playing in front of 19,000 fans. Certainly in League Two, it doesn't happen very often, if at all, outside of Valley Parade. So I think for the players, I think they learned to actually enjoy the experience, you know, and enjoy the sort of the challenge, really. I think that's important, because it is a challenge, and but I think the players have responded really well in recent months. It's no guarantee about going forward, but certainly we've got to take confidence from what we've done recently, and you know, I think the supporters are enjoying coming to Valley Parade and watching the team play as well. And I think that's important for us, that we want the supporters to believe in what we're doing and actually going home with smiles on their faces. But we'll have to work exceptionally hard on Saturday to make that happen again.
I know you want not want to put too much focus on the opposition, but Doncaster lost to Bromley on Tuesday, obviously. Is that, if nothing else, just a reminder of how unpredictable this league and this level can be at times? Yeah, well, I think you guys reminded me about it the week before. I think the bottom two beat the top two. I can't remember who it was. I think Gillingham actually might have been one of them. But you know, it can happen. It happens all the time. So we don't get sucked into recent games, recent performances, recent results. I think it's important that each game is taken in its own, you know, entirety and focused on in that way. So what we've done previously won't win us any points on Saturday, and it's the same with the opponent. But look, we don't. It's not that we don't focus on the opponent. We analyse them well, and we usually understand what the challenge is going to be. But I never go on the side of overemphasising the opponent to the detriment of us. I think we have to believe in ourselves and what we are as a team, as a club, as people. I think that for me is the most important part of football, and having confidence in our game. And if we get it as best we can, it gives us the best chance. But every game is tough, and if anything, you know, when a team that's going strong takes a bad result, there's usually a reaction. So we've got to be prepared for that as well. But you know, we were a bit frustrated at not winning on Tuesday as well. So we have to sort of up our game a little bit as well. Cheers, Graham. Best of luck.
Okay, mate. Cheers.
About this fixture, Graham, it seems to be a bit of a feisty one. I mean, you think, obviously, you lost a couple of players through injury last season. I think it was Sam Stubbs with the cheekbone.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, Jamie Walker and Alex Patterson went out. I think they had Ben Close stretchered off at Valley Parade.
Yeah.
The year before that, there was an incident with Emmanuel Osadebe where he broke his leg. I mean, it seems to have, it's strange how this fixture seems to have that sort of edge to it. I mean, is it one of those where you can just sort of sense a little bit of feistiness about this, perhaps more than other fixtures?
That's a Yorkshire derby, isn't it? So it's not I wouldn't say it was a surprise. I think it's two good clubs, two good teams, competitive teams trying to win game football. I think from my perspective, look, I wasn't here when Manny got injured, but obviously when Stubbsy, I didn't see anything. Look, it should have been a foul for us. I mean, Stubbsy ended up getting booked for that. And he missed 3 months, but I didn't see any maliciousness from the opponent. I think it was just a typical challenge you get in football, and there certainly wasn't any malice in the challenges that our players made either. So sometimes you can, just an unfortunate set of circumstances can lead to an injury. But it's certainly competitive, and I'd expect nothing else from a game like that. But I've never thought or witnessed the games going over a line which shouldn't be crossed. To be honest, I think it's just two teams going at it hammer and tongs, and I think that's what the fans expect to see. I think that's what we expect from ourselves, and I think that's what we expected from the opponents on the day as well. So whether Saturday's the same, can't tell. But you know, the atmosphere around it would pretty similar, I would expect.
With that atmosphere, is it the case just make sure the players play the game, not the occasion? I know, it's easier said than done until you're Valley Parade where you get the bigger crowds, but on an occasion like this where it's going to be loud, there's going to be a lot of away fans, there's a lot of noise around it.
Yeah, but I think we had to do that on Tuesday as well. We mentioned that on Tuesday at Cheltenham that I felt that we lost a bit of our discipline and focus because they had got a little head of steam up and their supporters got behind them, and all of a sudden it felt like they were doing good things, and really I don't know, they might have won a free kick or won a throw in our final third, and it feels like they got on top, but it's from the crowd reaction. I thought and we talked about that at half time, and I thought in the second half we ignored that, and we just focused on the on-pitch stuff and got a few of the basics right, and our performance flowed from that. So it's the same. It doesn't just have to be 18,000 to be able to create an atmosphere around a game. I think we've seen that many times this season already, in front of 2,000 or something like that. So that emotion and that emotional control has to be apparent in every game, I feel. And because one thing about English football, it's always emotional, it's always competitive, and there's always an atmosphere from the supporters. Obviously at Valley Parade it's just probably a little bit louder than most places, but there's always that control that we have to have about how we see the game, and try and focus on the things that we can only impact on, and that's usually what's happening on the pitch. And that I think the players have learned that harshly in sometimes, certainly at Valley Parade, which I think we've done really well at managing. Now I think we've got to improve away from home as well, but that's for another game.
So you're working on the mindset and working how to manage the occasion and situations of Valley Parade. Do you sort of sense now when the players come into the dressing room at home, there's a sort of slightly different feel about it than perhaps earlier in your career here when they were still sort of having those ups and downs at home?
But from being honest, I don't think it was just the players. I think I was in that mindset as well. Because I was learning about Valley Parade and the challenge of playing at Valley Parade and what the opponents brought as well. So it was a learning process for me as well. So I wouldn't just put the emphasis on the players, but I gradually sort of understood what was happening, both from the opponents coming to Valley Parade and how we were reacting to that, or how we were preparing for games, and maybe a little bit too, I wouldn't say gung-ho, but trying to win the game in the first 15 minutes. So I had to correct my own behaviour and messaging first to the players, and then obviously it was down to the players to respond to that. And I have seen a difference in it. There has been a definite difference, but there's been a difference for me as well. So we go hand in hand. I like to believe the team is usually a reflection of the guy who's leading it or managing it, and so I had to make the improvements myself first before the players could. So, but they took it on board, and we've made steady progress, I believe. But we're still not the finished article. There's still things that we can do better all the time. But I've been delighted with how the players have actually managed that sort of change.
And obviously, in terms of managers, you're up against Grant McCann, another manager who's got a lot of experience in the lower leagues. He's had a pretty good career as a manager. What sort of battles have you had with him over the years at all? Just typical. We both want our team to win against. We managed probably, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 clubs against each other at different levels, League One, League Two, and he's been at Donny a couple of times now, and he's done a really good job with them. The run they had at the end of the season to get into the playoffs was phenomenal, really. They'll be wanting to go one better. They're one of the fancied teams, so it's a big challenge for us. But it's, for me, the focus from me is on my team. It's not from me to the manager. I'm sure Grant's the same. And in terms of obviously in terms of freshness for the weekend, obviously the long journey, sitting on the motorways, the diversions and everything else. And, are the players going to be, they've had a home game, you've had a long trip. Is that a concern, or do you get that out of the system pretty quickly? It's fine. Apart from the late night, which affects the sleep, sitting on a bus isn't the worst thing in the world, and getting fed at a nice hotel isn't the worst thing in the world, and
and having the day off after the game isn't the worst thing in the world. So the players are well looked after. They'll be fine for Saturday. So that shouldn't have any bearing on our performance on Saturday at all. I like to believe we do things right here, and the players will be in good form physically and mentally on Saturday.